Welcome to the day 2 challenge, breathing, musical breathing. So I would like to talk about breathing in general at the beginning. So plucking strings player like us or keyboard player tend to neglect breathing because breathing is not directly involved in the sound creation of plucking instrument. So as a result, our breath tends to become shallow and over concentration on detailed hand movement causes holding breath or no breathing. So it means we have to operate under low oxygen condition that inducing anxiety, stress response, rigid muscle and discomfort, etc. So neglecting breathing is not a really good idea for musical playing. Also, there is another reason why breathing is important in music. So as you know, singing voice or sound of wind instrument has the power of deliver a musical message, the power of affect emotion and body directly. So when I was accompanying singer, I was almost envious because even the singer is not very well trained and not a top class performer, still singing has such a strong power to deliver musical message and moving people's emotion and affect their thought and sensations. But the powerful sound of the voice and wind instrument they contribute the most, like the sound itself. However, invisible but extremely important contributor is the breathing. We cannot mimic the sound of singing or winds, but we can apply their way of breathing to our instrument. So I'm talking about intentional breathing on harp. So singers or wind players, they breathe with the flow of music. So inhale at the natural break of the flow of music and exhale while delivering musical phrases. So they do it very naturally because they have to do it to make a sound. On the other hand, we plucking string player can make sound without air, so we have to learn and do it intentionally. We cannot expect it to happen naturally. Easier way to do this is to sing along the melody and find the natural break to inhale. So for example, if I play a simple melody like Amazing Grace with a little accompaniment, so I just play the melody, but if I sing along, I need to aware of my breathing. For example, before I start plucking, I have to take a good inhale, right? Inhale, and then so very end, you noticed however I finish plucking, I keep the breathing out. But actually, that breath is not doing anything physically to the music, but emotionally or psychologically or spiritually do a lot. So this is a kind of example how you sing along with the music, and you automatically pay attention for breathing. My experience is abdominal breathing is more suitable for harp rather than chest breathing. because chest breathing can create a movement, because when you chest breathing means when you inhale, your chest expand, and then rather like a stomach goes in almost. So because you make a space in a chest cavity, and that indirectly expand the lung capacity. And then when you breathe out, you collapse your chest cavity. So it means create a movement on the chest part. On the other hand, abdominal breathing is when you breathe in, actually abdominal, your stomach comes out a little bit, because you make space inside of the abdominal cavity, and that expansion of the volume inside of the body indirectly expand the lung. So abdominal breathing, when you breathe in, abdominal come out, your stomach comes out, or maybe the back of your other side of the stomach comes out, basically lower torso expand, and then when you exhale, it go back, like a shrink. So also the abdominal breathing is more kind of rooting your body to the ground. So my personal experience is abdominal breathing is more suitable for her, because upper body doesn't move with it so much. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you don't inhale enough air at the beginning of the melody or phrase, you run out of breath at the end. But even if you almost running out of the air, hang on there, like a singer trying to squeeze out, or in the instrumental player squeeze out the last bit of air to finish the phrase. So by doing this, we become able to breathe naturally with the flow of music and with the right amount of air. So, but on harpist, we use both hand, and then we pluck the multiple strings at a time. So we often play multiple melodies and also accompaniment at the same time. So don't be too lunatic about singing along phrase. So breathing along the flow of the music is important. So just don't get too lunatic about it. So for example, if I play two melodies at a time, so which you're gonna breathe with, right? So it's kind of use a common sense. You breathe with the flow of the music. But to practice the musical breathing, it's easier to start with like pick up the one melody or main melody, and then try to sing along and breathe along with it. So once you are getting used to sing along with the melody, and then you try to just breathe with the music without making sound, basically silent singing in a way, but breathing, keep the breathing patterns. At this point, you can explore both nose and mouth breathing, because while singing, you cannot use nose breathing, because nose breathing doesn't make any sound. So to use a vocal cord, we have to use a mouth breathing. So while we are doing singing along exercise, we use the mouth breathing naturally. But when we start silently breathing with the music, we can explore nose breathing. I personally use both nose and mouth breathing according to the situation, or according to what I want in the music. So basic guideline is mouth breathing is for more expressive and active music. So think of when we use mouth breathing, when we're talking, which is when we're expressing ourselves, or doing sports, or most typically when we are swimming, we have to take a lot of air at a time, and then we have to hold the air in under the water. So when you get up to the surface of the water, we take air at a time, a lot of air, through the mouth breathing. When I'm running in a marathon or long distance, I use mouth breathing more. So mouth breathing is related to more active and expressive. So if the music is more active and expressive, I switch to mouth breathing intentionally because if I feel it's more natural. On the other hand, nose breathing is breathing, right? Breathing is like a blood coming out. So nose breathing for more contemplative and introspective music. In a yoga practice, I learned that nose breathing is inducing calmness in the body and the mind. So, which means probably parasympathetic nerve system is activated by the nose breathing. So it means induce the calmness in our state. So for contemplative or introspective music, like a ballad or rubato, that type of atmosphere in the music, nose breathing is more suitable for. But this is my guideline. I encourage you to use both breathing and verify which one works for you in what situation. So probably you eventually find a way of breathing suit for your musical expression or musical necessity. Finally, I would like to talk about another great benefit of intentional breathing in the music. If a player intentionally breathes along the natural flow of music, that invite audience to be inside of the music and flow with it. If the performer is just playing without paying any attention or breathing, what I feel is music doesn't have any space for listener to participate. In a way, there is no space. We jump in also. So that kind of subtle space we can make with our intentional breathing can make the difference between a great performance and a good performance. Adding intentional breathing to our music performance means literally bringing music to life, because breath or breathing is a sign of life activities. So that intentional breathing elevates a simple acoustic phenomenon to a life phenomenon. Then you are really creating music rather than just playing. So with the intentional breathing or musical breathing, let's bring your music to life.